welcome back to the Gravity Rush Remastered Speedrunning Beginner's Guide. This is going to be episodes 12 and 13 for the no debt route. Reason why we're doing episodes 12 and 13 together is, again, you can't save in between them. And this is going to be one of the longest videos in the guide, just because we're going to have to do the entire descent, followed by Gravity Powerless Catch Dusty section, and then after that we're going to have one of the longest Nevi fights in the game. Alright, so first thing, I'm going to look at gem count. Now, this is kind of going to be where the gem route gets a little tight here. The important thing is we're going to want to get that Gravity Typhoon level 4 before we start the kids fight. So currently we have Gauge 5, we have Kick 4, Stasis Field 2, and Typhoon 3. Now Stasis Field 2 isn't necessarily required at this point, so if you don't have that, that should be okay too, but it is definitely helpful when we upgraded it in episode 8. Alright, so we are at 156. What we're going to need is we can get 325 gems guaranteed when we're doing the beginning of episode 13, when we have to catch Dusty. So basically we want to make sure that our gem count is around 500 before we start the descent, because during the descent we're actually not going to collect any gems because of the clip that I'm going to show you. Okay, so first we're going to start off with a little trick that's called Invisicat. So what I'm going to do is basically kick to a specific section in the pillar where the cutscene trigger that warps you into Venda Center and the void out for the pillar intersect. So what we're going to do is Kat's going to void out at the same time she triggers the cutscene, and that will void Kat into the cutscene. And then from there we can actually move during the cutscene, and we're invisible during this section, but we can move around and pick up gems while the cutscene is playing. Alright, so first you're going to aim where I'm looking at the pillar. There's this little kind of spiral thing here. Just make sure you aim near the edge of it. And then you're going to see her void out as soon as the screen starts going black. So if this is the first time you void out in the game, there will always be a text box that appears that you'll have to skip, like that. And then immediately I'm going to hold kind of like up right, and I'm going to start gravity kicking. You can kind of see the little... in the background you can see the little thing, but you can't really see where she's going, so after the scene switches, I just stop moving because I don't want to go too far off in the distance. Okay, so now we're gonna kick. There's the collection of gems in the middle of the watchtower, and then there's also a gem on the left-hand side that we're gonna want to pick up. So I'm gonna go over here. You don't have a lot of time to get these, so just be careful with it. So I'm gonna grab these, and then I'm gonna move down here and try to pick up as many gems as I can before it warps me back. Alright, that's fine. I'm going to hold up right, and then I'm going to grab that manhole there. And then now I'm going to show you the quickest route. So there's a lot of gems we can collect here before we actually start the descent, and I'm going to show you the full kind of fastest route with the most gems that you can collect on the way. So first we're going to start kicking up here. We're going to grab this set, and remember, only really collect until you have around 500. I think 475 is the minimum you're going to need to hit 800 by the time we get to the start of episode 13, but we want to hit at least 500. So it's those gems here, and then we're going to collect these gems along here, and then episode 12 start is just going to be right down here. Alright, so now we're going to start the descent. So what we're going to do is a technique, we're just basically going to gravity pump downward, because gravity pumping downward actually moves you faster than just either gravity kicking or just regular falling. So we're just going to start a gravity kick and cancel it early, and then you'll see Kat does this kind of weird falling thing where the camera zooms out a little bit. She actually does move slightly faster during this. So it's really important that you use this technique, because collectively it will save you a good amount of time. And then upcoming down here, we're going to have what we call the Steve clip, or the World Tree clip, whatever you want to call it. Basically, what I'm going to do is, once I get really close to this corner here, I'm going to push Kat against the wall, and I'm going to crash land into a corner. And when Kat gets up, she is gonna... Oh, let's see if I got it right. No, I went too far over. When Kat gets up, if you mess that up, just kick back up like this, drop. When she gets up, she's going to push herself through the wall. Okay, I'm pretty sure I got it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm clipped inside of the pillar. And this is really important because this allows us to just go basically straight down without needing to go into the tunnel, go back out a tunnel again, then go back in, go back out. We're in between the inside and the outside of the pillar, and we can stay here all the way until we reach the Falling Raven fight at the end of the episode. Okay, so if you look below us, you can see the little red-black stuff. That's going to be a kill plane that will reset us outside of the pillar. And the only way to remove that kill plane is to get rid of our gravity powers. So unfortunately, we can't kick straight down here and save even more time. But what we're going to need to do is kick across this. All we just need to do is get close enough to trigger it. And then, oh, whoops. Oh, poor. It's really not hard to trigger that. So now that our gravity powers are gone, so is the kill plane. I also got what's called tutorial skip, so there's a little tutorial that pops up that says your gravity powers are gone, and then that's what plays the music. So that's if you can get tutorial skip, it's pretty specific movement, then that saves you maybe like 2-3 seconds. But there's also no music that will play until like we reach the Falling Raven fight. So there's not really too much that you can do here. All you have to do is align cat. You can see off in the distance where the section is that we're going to get our gravity powers back again. You want to make sure that you evade, cancel, land onto it, so that we can run over it, get our powers back, and then we'll start gravity pumping down until we reach the second section where we have to, the second descent where we have to lose our powers again. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, because we've clipped on the inner part, we aren't picking up any gems here, and so you want to make sure that you have that 500 before you get to episode 12. Yeah, there's really not too much going on here. We basically just need to kick until we reach this part, and then we're just going to walk over it, lose our powers, and then run off again. So we're just going to curve all the way around to the left side. You have a whole, like, bunch of time and distance to try to position cat correctly. In fact, when you start, you can't even really see where it is. Just because of how the draw distance works, but we're just going to keep holding over and like spinning around, and then eventually we're going to see where the spot is that we'll need to land to get our gravity powers back again. Even if you don't get your gravity powers back, like let's say you don't make it around in time, you mess something up, whatever, you will still be able to trigger the cutscene at the end and get your gravity powers back, but it does lose you a good chunk of time if you don't land on them to get your gravity powers back and then keep kicking. But it's not the end of the world. It doesn't soft lock you. If you do crash, however, like at the edge of the pillar on the left side here, there are places that you can't get soft locked because you can't shift and you can't jump over. If the wall like next to you is too big, you can't jump over it. So again, now we see where it is, so we're just gonna get close to it. Just land on it. If you're ever doing a marathon run, this is the perfect time to get donations. Alright, we're going to kick down, cancel. Now we're just going to gravity pump straight downward. Alright, so upcoming we do have a cutscene trigger that we need to get in order to teleport us back into the pillar and basically put the game back into a normal state. I will show you where that is. So just kind of stay on this little, like, right side here, pretty much where I'm going. The cutscene trigger is pretty large, but you can miss it, and if you miss it, then the game will void you, and that will lose you a lot of time. But you'll just see it's going to fade to black, and then we're going to get this cutscene, and it's like nothing ever happened. One more time, even if you didn't have gravity powers there, if you can land on that cutscene trigger, when the game teleports you in, it automatically gives you your gravity powers back, so that's really nice. Okay, now this is what we call Raven 2, or Falling Raven fight, whatever you want to call it. This actually is one of the most annoying fights in the game casually, and would be the most annoying fight in the speedrun if we didn't have a little trick. And so I'm about to show you what that trick is. What we're going to do is hold up and left, and as soon as we skip the cutscene, or the text box, then I'll show you where we're going to go. It's going to be right around 3,690-ish yards. We're going to walk, we're going to fly right here. Gonna land on this section. Just, you can hear Raven attacking below us. We're just gonna jump through here, and then we're just gonna kick straight down, and Raven is gonna get stuck. And because she's stuck there, she will not get in front of you, she won't throw objects at you, and you won't have to worry about her hitting you. And again, we're just gonna gravity pump straight down for a very, very, very long time. This is kind of the biggest break in the run, is about the halfway section. If you're on a super good around 130 pace, you'll get here in around like maybe 45, 50 minutes. But if you're just starting out, if you can get to this point within about an hour or so, then I'd say you're on a pretty good pace. Since this is like the halfway point of the run. So if you can finish this episode, because this whole episode itself I believe takes about 5 minutes, if you can finish this whole episode around before an hour, then you're doing pretty well for yourself if you're just starting out. But yeah, we're just going to keep gravity pumping straight down. Not really much else we can do. Make sure that when you're doing this, you don't go too far to the right, because if you do, Raven can break out of where she is, because we walked over to the right side and she's trying to push through the left part of the pillar and she can't get through it. So if you do kick all the way to the right-hand side, then sometimes she'll break out, and if she does do that, she will, like, rubber band insanely fast to catch up with you. It does take her a bit of time, depending on how far down you are, but it's not worth the risk, especially because if you're still at level 1 health here, then it can be very, very scary. She will, like, two-shot you, and her rocks are really, really annoying and hard to avoid. But yeah, we're just gonna keep gravity pumping straight on down. If you need to pick up some gems, you can see the gems here. If you can collect those, then you should be okay. But honestly, they're all singles, and so it's not like you're gonna be getting a whole bunch of gems from this section. But if you're not at 500, like let's say you're at maybe like 480 or something like that, and you want to grab the extra 20 to get yourself up to 500, you can do that. Because 500 would also allow you to, if you need a health upgrade, then you want to be at like 525 or so. Just in case you want the gems for that. Okay, we're reaching here. Alright, so this is an instant cutscene skip, then we got a text box. After this, the cutscene skip's gonna be kind of like maybe a second after you see this thing shoot up the side of the pillar, so right there. And now we have the cage. This is actually the perfect place to have a bathroom break if you need one. You have about, I don't know, maybe like 45 seconds to a minute, and you absolutely can't do anything to speed the section up. It'll automatically go, and then you'll have the comic book skip afterwards. Otherwise, you can just jump around while you're doing this. Kind of like what I'm doing. Doesn't really matter. There's no way to break out of the cage. You can't shift. You can't do anything like that, so. Alright, gonna skip this. So, you kind of just have to wait it out, and then eventually Kat's gonna take 3 jumps, and then she'll break the cage open, but just kind of keep spamming jump here, that should be fine. Eventually you'll see the cage move down, once the little black text box appears. And boom, 2, and 3. Get this cutscene. So, Catch Dusty section, there's a few little tricks here, but not very many. Make sure you're jumping up the stairs, it's a little bit faster. As soon as you hit 800 gems, we're going to use those 800 in order to get Gravity Typhoon level 4. Jump, grab this ledge. So you can one-cycle all of these guards if you're fast enough, but it is a little bit difficult, especially with the third one. But even if you don't one-cycle it, it's not going to lose you that much time. So here, if you push yourself against the wall while you jump up, you can skip the ledge grab on both of those ledges. This one, you cannot do that. Okay, now I gotta wait for the second guard. And as soon as... just gonna... gotta grab the ledge on this one. Grab the ledge on this one. Okay, we're at 800, so we're just gonna get Gravity Typhoon. And we're gonna push ourselves to skip that ledge grab. This one you gotta grab. Unfortunate that I missed it, then you can push and then do that. Might be able to one cycle. Ah! Okay, we're good. Alright, next up we have what's called Kids Fight. So there's going to be a text box and I'll sit down and talk about what we're going to do. Alright, the enemy that's directly in front of us is called a dragon. This is one of the most annoying enemies in the game and is really dumb and annoying to gravity kick, but fortunately for pretty much every fight that includes a dragon in the any percent, we will be using Gravity Typhoon to take it out. When you use Gravity Typhoon, there is a certain period of vulnerability during the startup that if you get hit, you will lose your special gauge and it will cancel Gravity Typhoon. We call that getting Gravity Typhoon canceled, and it is one of the most frustrating things that can happen in a run. It can cost you as much as a minute to a minute and a half, depending on how well you take the fight after losing Gravity Typhoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to immediately start out this fight by kicking. There's going to be a flying R to the left. We're going to kick that, and then the bounce off should help us dodge the first set of bullets that the dragons shoots out, and once we've dodged those, then we're going to use Gravity Typhoon. Just make sure, because dragons basically shoot like little sets of bullets, and it happens decently fast, and they hone in on you, so you got to be really careful that you've dodged their bullets. Either use R2 to dodge or anything like that to dodge their bullets before you start Gravity Typhoon. Just make sure you're at like a safe place before you do the startup so you don't get Gravity Typhoon canceled. Alright, so we're going to kick over here. You can see it shot bullets, so we're good. We're going to use Gravity Typhoon. You can see how it's aiming at me. At this point I have invincibility, so it's not a big deal. But make sure that we took it out. Alright, then we're just going to kill the rest of these guys. Because they're orange Nevi, if they're at close range, it's going to take 2 kicks, but only 1 long range kick at level 4 gravity kick to kill them. Okay, so we're just going to jump off, let our gauge refill. And then I'll show you the path that we want to take here. So we're going to kill this guy, kill this guy, kill this one, kill the Lancer here, and then what we're actually going to do is drop down. And then we're going to fight these guys. So you want to make sure you avoid the shark attack, because it will two-shot you. It brings you down to yellow health, and if you're at yellow health, then it will kill you. So just be really careful. You want to pick up these 25s. They're really easy to get. We're going to kick back up, and then we're going to continue on to this right side over here. So kill him. Then we're going to RGK to this nail. Oh my gosh, my movement is questionable. Oh. Completely whiffed here. I'm gonna let my gauge refill. Okay. Got him. Now let's get this frog. Okay, and then we got another shark over here. And this fight is mostly just about trying to kill as much as you can before your Gravity Typhoon comes back, because we're also going to finish this fight with a Gravity Typhoon. So now it's come back. What I'm going to do is kill a few swordfish. I'm going to kill these 2 right here, and then I'm going to use Gravity Typhoon. So if you have 2 swordfish in this wave, then you should be able to clear them all. Typhoon. Alright, that was it. So this is the fight in the game with the most amount of Nevi, and it's actually the only fight in which we'll use Gravity Typhoon twice because of how many Nevi we have to kill. Just make sure you follow that path and that you're trying to rapid gravity kick and kill things as fast as you can. As long as, if you can basically get down to those 2 swordfish before your Gravity Typhoon comes back, then you've pretty much done the fight perfectly, because you're playing around Gravity Typhoon in that fight. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be episodes 12 and 13 for the no debt route. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next episode.